Good evening. I'd like to call the village board meeting for Tuesday, October 2nd, 2018 to order with roll call, please.
Kossler.
Here.
McAlpine.
Here.
Weinhammer.
Here.
Betts.
Here.
Cavelli. Here. Kraus.
Here.
Thank you. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just gotta smile.
Does anybody sign in? Thank you. We'll now move to the public forum where the public is invited to make an issue-oriented comment on any matter of public concern not otherwise on the agenda. I had one person sign in. Barbara, did you want to say something?
I don't want to, but I have to. There hasn't been anything lately about Mr. Taylor and what his plans are for that Maplewood property. You know, he wanted to, you know what he wanted to do. Has he lowered his density?
We have not heard a word from him. We don't know anything.
No kidding.
Nothing. We haven't heard anything.
Nothing's-
Nothing. As soon as we are notified that there's something that he wants to present, it'll be made public. But as of right now, there's nothing. We have not had any contact with him at all with regards to this.
Maybe he's changed his mind and come to his senses and doesn't want to build all that 200 multifamily units and 69 townhomes and pollution, cancer. It's unhealthy. It's too small an area. So there. I don't like to talk, but it bothers me, you know,
You do fine.
because I love Carrie. And I don't want to see, you know, something bad happen.
We will prevent anything bad.
All right, you get in there, you guys. We're counting on you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so much.
Sure. I have a few things on my report tonight. I attended our monthly.
There's one other.
What? I'm sorry. Hi. Okay,
How you doing? Sorry about that.
that's okay.
Hi, my name is Lance Sousis, 400 block of Marion Drive. I'm a Cary Fire District trustee, and I just wanted, I saw that Fire Prevention Week was on the agenda today. Our fire department open house is October 9th, 400 Cary Algonquin Road. From 6:30 to 8:30, we invite everybody to come down and try using our fire extinguisher demo. We'll also have kids for the games for the kids. The kids will also enjoy seeing Sparky the dog. And we invite everybody to come check out the equipment, watch the firefighters cut up a car with the jaws of life. It's a great opportunity for the whole family to learn fire safety and see what to do in an emergency. Any questions, they can call the Cary Fire Department, 847-639-2121. And I just want to say we appreciate the cooperation with the village and going ahead and announcing that.
Sure.
And just thought I'd come by and invite everybody down for our open house.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was going to mention that my last thing, trustee Weinhammer asked me to talk about it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the fire department anyway. You may want to listen. Oh, well, okay. It was all good. We had our monthly McCog meeting, which is a McHenry County Council of Governments, and we had an excellent presentation by ComEd. And they talked about ways that there are new programs that they're implementing that are going to help save our residents money. They have this new thing, leading the way to a clean energy economy. There was a nice PowerPoint presentation that was given at this, and we're going to put a link on this on our website. We'll talk about how our residents can contact ComEd, and they can come in free of charge to any residents, and they will do a complete energy assessment. And the gentleman that was doing the presentation said that they will also change out all of your light bulbs for free to give you more energy efficient LED lights. And they have, I think he said it was $35 million set aside to do this. They're mandated to do this by the federal government. So we're going to try to really encourage our residents to take advantage of this. I think it's a really good opportunity. This gentleman that did the presentation, he tried it, and he has definitely noticed the savings in his his energy consumption and his bill. So I'm anxious to do this. I'm going to sign up for it myself and see what they could do for us. And also, they have a new program for municipalities and government for our buildings and such. So we'll look at some of these things that are some great ways for us to save some money. It was a really, actually, it went really long. There was a lot of great questions and discussion about, energy and that. And of course, with the recent power outages that we had, this guy was Johnny on the spot with some of the issues that they have. So they're always looking at ways to improve their service and their infrastructure. So that was a really a great meeting for us. I have a couple proclamations. One is for Fire Prevention Week. Look, listen, learn, be aware. Fire can happen anywhere, October 7th through the 13th, 2018. Whereas the Village of Cary is committed to ensuring the safety and security of those living in and around our community, and whereas U.S. home fires resulted in 2,735 civilian deaths in the United States in 2016, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments in the United States responded to 352,000 home fires. And whereas Cary's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the 2018 Fire Protection Week theme, Look, Listen, Learn, Be Aware, Fire Can Happen Anywhere, educates the public about the vital importance of developing a home fire escape plan with the members of the household and practicing it twice a year. Therefore, I, Mark Kaunick, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim October 7th through the 13th, 2018 as Fire Prevention Week throughout the Village of Cary. And I urge all the people of the Village of Cary to be aware of their surroundings, look for available ways out in the event of a fire or other emergencies, respond when the smoke alarm sounds by exiting the building immediately, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts in the Village of Cary, of the Village of Cary's Fire and Emergency Services during Fire Prevention Week 2018, dated the second day of October 2018. One more proclamation for Lions Candy Days, October 12th and 13th, 2018. Whereas the Cary Lions Club is an active part of our community, and whereas the Cary Lions Club is dedicated to service to the community, particularly in the areas of vision and hearing conservation, in the areas of aid to the deaf and blind, and whereas the Cary Lions Club will participate in Candy Days on Friday, October 12th, and Saturday, October 13th, giving away candy and accepting donations for humanitarian services. Now, therefore, I, Mark Kaunick, Mayor of the Village of Cary, do hereby proclaim October 12th and 13th, 2018 to be Lions Candy Days in Cary, Illinois, and urge all to donate generously, dated the second day of October 2018. One other thing, Lance, Trustee Weinhammer giving me a heads up that there was the open house on October 9th, the 6:30 to 8:30. But before that, I just kind of wanted to mention, I happened to be in downtown Cary when that fire broke out at 750 Kachina in Cary Travel. I got there right when I just happened to be getting down there on Spring Street right when the commander was getting there. And I have to tell you, it was quite impressive. It was absolutely quite impressive. And how our police department worked hand in hand with the fire department. They assessed the situation so quickly, and they struck it out in a matter of minutes. It could have been something, had they dawdled and not been ready for this and even waited a few extra minutes, it could have been a completely different situation. So I was just in awe, and I just wanted to make sure that the public is aware that we have got an excellent emergency services community within our police department and our fire department. And that really could have been something quite catastrophic. And on a community note, I happened to be down there, and all of the businesses that were in downtown Cary came out. I mean, there was somebody from every business that came down to console the owners of Cary Travel as well as 750 Kachina. It was just a really cool thing to witness, that the community that we live in is so concerned about each other, and it was just a really nice thing to witness. So I just thought I would pass that along. Okay, moving on to village business. I will entertain a motion to approve consent agenda items number 1 through 4 as shown on the village's website and is displayed on the video monitor during the village board meeting.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Cavelli,
Yes.
Betts,
Yes.
Weinhammer,
Yes.
Costler,
Yes.
McAlpine,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Moving to items for separate action, I will entertain a motion to approve an ordinance granting a waiver of the non-conforming lots requirement and variances to required front yard setback, side yard setback, and lot coverage for the construction of 2 single-family homes for the property located at 119 Pearl Street.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Turn it over to you, Brian.
Just a second. Thank you, Mayor, Village Board. The request this evening is a request that came out of the zoning board in September. They're seeking approval of 4 actions related to the development of 2 single-family homes on the property. The first is a waiver of non-conforming lots requirements, and then 3 variances related to the front yard setback, interior side yard setback, and lot coverage for the subject properties. A little bit of history. The property was originally platted and developed back in the 1940s. It was a single-family home was constructed across 2 lots of the Weaver's second edition subdivision to the Village of Cary. Those parcels were adjoined for tax purposes as they're both owned by the same individual that owned both lots. In 2008, there was a structure fire that damaged the house, and due to neglect of the property or for repairs, the village actually demolished the structure in 2011. This evening, the petitioner is seeking approval to construct 2 single-family homes on the 2 lots that were originally created back in the subdivision back in the 1940s. This slide shows the details of the plans. As mentioned, the property is comprised of 2 lots that were originally platted in 1946. They're seeking to construct a home on each one of the lots that would be equal in size. As you can see on the left-hand slide, there's the 2 homes would be situated similar to other properties on the street, but would have attached garages that would front the roadway, and then a 3-bedroom floor plan is proposed with kitchen dining areas and also living spaces as well. Each home would be 1 story in height, which is similar to existing development in the area as well. The first action that's requested for this project is a waiver of certain requirements within the village's ordinances for non-conforming lots. Specifically, section 1760.030 of the zoning ordinance states that where a non-conforming lot can be used in conformity with all regulations applicable to the intended use, except that the lot cannot meet the minimum lot area or lot width requirement, then the lot may be used just as if it were conforming. So that section, first sentence of that paragraph indicates that if a lot does not meet our minimum lot size requirements or lot width requirements, an individual can develop a home on those properties as long as it complies with other zoning regulations for setback, lot coverage, and height regulations. However, that section continues on where a non-conforming lot is adjacent to another lot which was in the same ownership at any time between the creation of the non-conforming status and that of the application for a permit, then neither the owner of the lot or his successors in interest may take advantage of the provisions of the section. Since these 2 lots, Lot 4 and Lot 5, are both non-conforming individually on their own with our current minimum lot size requirement in the R2 district, and they were under common ownership at one time, a waiver of this section is required in order for the developer to construct 2 homes on the property. As you can see on the slide here, both Lot 4 and Lot 5 are substandard as far as individual lot width compared to our R2 district requirements. They each have a lot width of 50 feet, where R2 district requires a width of 70 feet, and the minimum lot area of 6,600 square feet for each lot excuse me, is less than the R2 district requirements as well. Combined, the 2 lots do comply with the minimum requirements with an overall lot width of 100 feet and a lot area of 1,300 and change. The second other requests that are as part of the proposal are 3 variances for each lot. The first is a front yard setback. The petitioners are seeking approval of a front yard setback of 28 feet to the front of the structure. They are also seeking approval of a side yard setback on one property line, reducing our code requirement from 8 feet down to 5.5 feet on the east property line of each of the lots. The properties would comply with the side yard setback on the west, along the west property line as proposed. And the third variance that's also proposed is a lot coverage of 45%. The petitioners are seeking to increase above the existing, or the code requirement of 35%. This slide details gives more detail as far as the variations that are requested, as far as how they compare to the R2 district requirements and also existing development patterns on the block. The table in the lower left-hand corner details the existing code requirements for the R2 district as how they compare to both Lot 4 and Lot 5. As you can see, the front yard setback requirement is 30 feet. The variation that we're seeking to be 28 feet to the front of the structure, but there would be a porch or canopy that would be allowed to, or would project a little bit further into that front yard. Our ordinance does allow for certain improvements to be constructed in required yards, and canopies that would be over an entrance would be one that would be allowed to be constructed into the front yard. The code does not specifically define how far that can extend into the yard, but that would be a structure that would be permissible to project in the required front yard beyond that building setback. The interior side yard to the east, the minimum requirement is 8 feet. Again, they're requesting the variances for each lot at 5.5 feet. Would comply with the western setback and also the rear setback. The lot coverage maximum permitted is 35%, and the 2 lots would also both have 45% lot coverage. The petitioners are requesting a variance up to 45%. Actually, the plans as proposed would have a lot coverage slightly lower than that, but in case the future homeowners wanted to make additional improvements, they want to receive or seek approval of a variation for 45%, so that they wouldn't have to come back through the variation process for that additional relief. The table 1, which is in the upper left-hand corner, compares the 2 lots with the existing development patterns on the block. As you can see in the first column for the front yard setback, the setbacks that are proposed at 28 feet are similar to existing setbacks along this roadway, specifically just looking at properties that are on the south side of Pearl Street. On average, homes are set back roughly 26 feet to 28 feet in that area, so these homes would be set back slightly further than other homes on the lot. The side yard setbacks, as you can, the west side yard setbacks for other properties that are on the block range from roughly 5 feet to 7 feet at the highest, with the proposal for this lot would be 10.5 feet. The side yard setback on the eastern side have larger setbacks to the primary structure, where existing setbacks range from just under 14 feet to up to 16 feet. The petitioner is requesting a variance for a setback of 5.5 feet. The main reason or the difference between the proposed development and existing development patterns around on the street relate to the presence of the attached garages for the proposed home. The existing development pattern in the area has all the homes that are on Pearl Street have detached garages, so the primary structure is set back further from the property line due to the presence of a driveway that accesses a detached garage in the rear yard. In this case, the presence of the attached garage, we won't have as much of a setback with the driveway not lining that eastern property line. Finally, reviewing lot coverage and lot size, as you can see, the existing lot coverages in the area range from the upper 30% to as high as 57%, as most of these homes were developed prior to our existing regulations. So they're not conforming from a lot coverage perspective, but the proposed 45% is in keeping with the development patterns in the area, as well as the lot size is consistent with existing lot sizes on the block.
Brian, can you step back to that or actually you might show it here in this slide, just showing where those setbacks are so the board can fully understand both the front yard and then the side yard setbacks.
Sure. So this slide replaces the table from the, looking at the R2 district requirements with the existing aerial photograph of that block. The dashed line that you can see here shows where the proposed setback of 28 feet would be. And then going through down the street, you have a setback of 26 feet, 21 and a half feet to the front yard from the sidewalk, basically the edge of the sidewalk to the front of the home, 26 feet, 26 feet, 27, and 26 feet as you go down the block. The side yards, as you can see between the two units, just focusing on 109 Pearl, you have cursor is disappearing, approximately a 5-foot setback from the home to the property line on its western edge, and a 14-foot setback from the home to the property line on its eastern edge, which mainly encompasses the driveway. And then continuing on to 115 Pearl, there's additional 6 feet to the next structure from that standpoint. With any variation, they're reviewed against our variation standards from the zoning ordinance that are summarized in the slide. And specifically, the zoning board reviewed the proposed variations and reviewed the development patterns in the area and thought that based off the recommendation that the variation standards were complied with in this case, specifically that the proposed variations were in keeping with the existing character of the development in the area, and were not out of character from a breadth of scope based off existing development patterns. As a result, during the public hearing on September 13th, the ZPA made a recommendation of approval for the request, specifically approval of a waiver of the requirements of section 1760-030 to allow for the construction of 2 single-family detached homes on lots 4 and 5 of the Weaver Second Edition to Cary subdivision, and variances to reduce the required front yard setback from 30 feet to 28 feet, reduce the required interior side yard setback from 8 feet to 5.5 feet, and increase the maximum permitted lot coverage from 35% to 45% for the property located at 119 Pearl Street, subject to conditions that are listed in the staff report for you this evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding the petitions.
Anybody have any questions?
Brian, I just had questions relating to the side setback, and we discussed this earlier today. If the board could look at this chart right here, this proposal 119 Pearl sort of contradicts the customary setbacks within this neighborhood. If you look at 119 Pearl, the west setbacks are 10.5 feet and the east setbacks are 5.5 feet, which compared to the east and west setbacks from the other properties is contradictory to the spacing. So I was hopeful, is the petitioner here today?
They're not here at the moment.
Okay. I was hopeful that we could shift both houses to the west by 2.5 feet. That would make the side setback on the east 8 feet and the west 8 feet. It would also, and maybe Brian can help me demonstrate what that would do, but it would make it more uniform of a setback from west to east in each home, so that we don't have two homes that, what we have currently is a neighborhood that goes driveway, home, setback, home, or driveway, home, setback, and this is sort of contradicting that. It's putting especially close proximity to on the east side of lot 5 to 129 Pearl. Maybe you could go back one, Brian.
Back to the table? Or, sorry.
No.
The site plan?
Yep, go back one
Sorry.
where it has here, this
Picture.
The site plan?
this one, lot 4 and 5. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you look at lot 5, east is to your right. And right now, that setback is 5.5 feet. And then where it says, I don't know my glasses, is that lot 8? The one that's already built?
Lot 6. They're sequential
3, 4,
orders.
5, 6.
Yeah.
All right, lot 6, that house is set back 4 feet. So in between those two homes, between lot 5 and lot 6 is 9 feet. And if in any other home, the east setback, if you look at this chart, is 14 feet, 13.7, 15.8, 15.5. That portion, the east setback, is larger. So these homes should be shifted to the left, in my opinion, so that it more closely aligns with what is already in the neighborhood. And all that would take would be 2.5 feet to the left, and then they would need the second variance.
That's correct. From looking at, after our conversation, I did look at other properties that are in the area as well, and majority of the lots that are on the south side of Pearl Street, which are the block that was analyzed in that table, their development pattern is consistent from a standpoint of you have the house with the driveway on the eastern edge, so they all have the detached garage in the rear yard, and then the driveway was on the side, so that forces the setback back. On the opposite side of the street, there are other properties that have attached garages, specifically the 3 properties that are closer to Second Street. The setback between these structures is comparable to what is proposed here. Just from a setback standpoint, there's approximately 9 feet or 10 feet between these 2 structures in this location, and the same here. With other parcels similar to the south side, the garages are in the back of the home, so you have more setback between the structures on those areas. But that was a concern that was expressed during the zoning board as well, where the setbacks and the proximity to from the Lot 5 house to the adjacent house on Lot 6 at 129 Pearl Street, that were concerns that came up as well as far as the setback between the 2 structures.
So as it's proposed, if you look at this slide, the house that exists on the west side, which is to the left, is on the left side of the property, and then there's a driveway. And then for lot 4 on this diagram, you have the largest setback to the west still. So if we move these to the left, to the west, it wouldn't negatively impact anything. You know, it would more conform to what you already have here in this neighborhood.
Was the petitioner supposed to be here tonight?
Yes, I advised them and I'd emailed or talked to them in the last day that they were aware of the meeting.
Because these would be some good questions to ask them. I had a question regarding sorry, anybody else have any other comment? Regarding the front setback. You know, they're asking for 28 feet when the rest is 26. Are they trying to offset the cost, offset the canopy or the front porch? Is that why they're doing that? Because they would think if they pushed the house up a little bit more, they'd have more of a backyard than the front yard, and then that would be more conforming of.
Yeah, they're attempting to provide, you know, adequate parking on the driveway
driveway,
surface for
okay.
vehicles, but at the same point, the 28 feet is relatively consistent. It's not far off from what the existing setbacks are there, but with the presence of the canopy projecting further into the front yard, if they were to move the setback up closer for the primary structure closer,
would,
that would
okay.
even project further.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I have a question too. Are you finished?
Yeah.
The village paid for the demolition of the previous property. Do we have a lien placed on this property?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe it's $18,000. Any other questions?
No, but I think it would be nice to know what their thought process was. I think those are some pretty easy questions that we could get answered. It would be beneficial if they would have been present, and I think we could have just gotten an answer. Maybe there's an answer to some of this that would make sense, because I think these are legitimate questions.
The petitioner during the zoning board hearing primarily focused on with their layout and design. As you can see in this floor plan, off the dining area, they have a sliding glass door that's on the side of the house. And their reasoning for shifting the home over more to the eastern edge was to have that sliding door that would give access for if somebody wanted to have a grill outside that door, they could do so, and that grill or that door would access the side yard. Was their primary reason or the reasoning that was discussed in the ZPA hearing for the setback skew.
I think it'd be two for the western sunsets, not to see the sunset, but just to get more of that sun
Get more light, yeah.
exposure. Yeah.
Yeah. And the builder's a very good builder. I'm certainly aware of the builder. Like I said, I just think that if they would have been present, we could have a couple quick questions answered.
Yeah, I
We'll be
guess
done.
I'm wondering if there is enough in the timeline that maybe we could table this and have them here to see if there might be some latitude.
So, yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
yeah, I
Absolutely.
would say we could continue this to the next meeting.
I agree.
Everybody in agreement to that?
I agree. You need to make a
I'll
motion
make a
to
motion
table?
to table.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think we have to,
Motion to table, and are you setting a specific date at the next meeting?
Well, we need to do the next meeting, the
October
16th.
16th.
Yeah.
Right, so that's included, just for the record, in the motion, that it is being set over to a specific meeting.
Pardon me?
Today is October 2nd.
I think
16th,
it's at the 16th.
October 16th.
Is our next meeting? October
Yes.
2nd?
Today is.
No, today's October 2nd. No worries.
Hello.
Okay, also, everybody was in favor, was it unanimous to continue this to the 16th? Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
And we it continued also the discussion about Meyer Material too, so there'll be no discussion on that as well. Administrators report.
Mayor, Village Board, every year we get calls related to hours for trick or treating here in the village. Just want to confirm with the Village Board on those hours. The last couple of years, we've gone to a 3 to 8 schedule for trick or treating. We've gotten some feedback from residents about 8 being potentially too late. We've looked at some of the adjacent communities, and generally 3 to 7 is pretty much what we're seeing out there. Wondering if you're comfortable with a 3 to 7 for trick or treating hours so we can get that information out to the public.
yep.
I think it already is. 3 to
Well,
7.
it's confirmed.
Thank you, that was good. Saved us some phone calls. Chief Finland, anything for us?
Real quick, the emergency alert system and the wireless alert system will be tested tomorrow, one at 1:18 PM and one at 1:20 PM. So you may be getting a text message on a variety of communication devices, and it's the Federal Emergency Management Agency testing those systems. It might even say a presidential alert, but there's no action necessary. We did send something out in our TextCaster Emergency Management Agency text group to alert people. It was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago when we put something in the Cary News Weekly to alert everyone that they had canceled that because of Hurricane Florence. So just in case you get something tomorrow, there's no need to panic.
I got a tester today, a text alert saying,
That was going to happen, yeah.
Right, it's going to happen tomorrow.
That might have been from us saying that it's a test.
yeah,
Yeah.
it said it was a test.
Thank you. Director Marimoto?
Thank you, Mayor. Just two things. First off, excuse me. This evening, beginning at 7 o'clock, so within a half hour, our crews are going to be addressing a water system repair on Route 14. So the outside lane eastbound between First Street and Second Street will be closed while crews attempt that repair. So it'll be temporary just through the night, and hopefully tomorrow morning through rush hour, you shouldn't see any impacts to it. So just be a quick repair for our forces to address an issue there. And then second, I think everybody is aware, a week ago today, there was a high wind event that resulted in several power outages and trees down. Through the past week, our crews, first ComEd, I want to say, did an excellent job. They had a lot of power outages at one time because of that storm, which created havoc on a line between Barrington, Cary, Algonquin, Lincoln, the Hills, and Huntley. So predominantly those communities, we've all experienced the same issues of several trees and brush that has to be collected and removed. The photos in front of you here just show some examples of the public and private property impacts of large trees that were blown down through the 70-mile-per-hour plus gusts that we experienced. And with that came the brush piles, which our crews since Wednesday morning have been working every day to either retrieve the light stuff via manually onto our trucks. The heavy stuff has to be grabbed by equipment, whether it be our Bobcats and our heavy loaders, the stuff that you can't safely move by hand, as well as ComEd doing some repairs that, you see the top left there, a cracked power pole had to be supported temporarily while they made a big repair in that area. That one particularly took the longest to fix and probably was responsible for the extended outages in the middle of town. Due to the volume of brush, it's been slow work with, given we have 6 people and only limited pieces of equipment to get through the village. We did enlist a request through the Illinois Public Works Municipal Aid, or Equiman Network, and they answered our call, and the village of Villa Park has provided a chipping crew. So with a full, you can see the top center picture, a full truck with a chipper and 4 crew members. So their generous donation of 2 pieces of equipment and some people for a couple days here has essentially doubled our O&M force in this brush effort.
Very cool.
So as we do that, we're grateful to them for that. You can see here all brush that isn't chipped on site has been hauled or is being hauled back to our public works site, which then we have to take the next step to chip that so it doesn't just sit there and become a nuisance for the operations. So pretty much every drive aisle and hard surface in our yard is now covered in brush. So we're attempting to secure a rental of a tub grinder, so a major piece of equipment to more efficiently get rid of this brush so that we can get back to normal.
It's hard to tell the scale too of some of these pictures when you look at them here if you're not familiar with the wastewater treatment plant facility. So certainly these are some big piles of brush. As Director Morimoto had mentioned, I mean, there's some big trees that we're dealing with here and seeking outside assistance. So PW is doing a great job in getting us back to normal.
And so we appreciate the public's patience. I know it's taken a bit for us to get through most of the village. We started at the north end and working our way south. Our regular brush collection is also this week. I do believe most of the community probably had most of their stuff out early because of the storm last week, which was also much appreciated. But north half of town, north of and east of 14 is obviously this week. And then beginning next week, south and west of 14, we have the regular collection for that part of town. But we are right now mobilized in both halves of town just with the storm pickup. So people that don't have it out now and see our crews on the south side of town, if you do have more put out by Monday morning next week, we will be back again. Okay, that's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you to your crews. Excellent. What a great thing that we got municipal partnering with Villa Park. That's awesome. Thank you. Director Simmons, do you have anything else for us? Mallory, want to talk? Okay. Any future agenda items in discussion by the village board? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I think you will ramp up in just a minute.